Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 2. Create a composition as we did during our previous lesson. Drag and drop our illustration into the composition. Create shapes from vector layer. Further, using motion tools, extract the layers as we did in the previous lesson. Merge objects using motion tools. Name them in the same way. Pyramid. It will be face and so on. After you merge the layers, make sure that you have a correct hierarchy similar to mine on the screen. Ball 3. Stroke, reflection, and wheels. Now we can prepare our objects for animation. A good rule to follow when you start working is to set the anchor points, that is, rotation lines of each object. Great. Now let's go into the very preparation, and let's start with the body. I have decided that it will be interesting to make the imitation of 3D rotation of the body. I'll use crazy shapes. In the Extra tab, click Path Keys. In this way, you will create the keys on shapes. This button is here for our convenience, so that you don't need to search for every path manually. Sometimes it takes a lot of time. Select Path, Command T or Control T on the keyboard will allow us to transform the path. Using the arrows on the keyboard, you move it to the center and press Enter. Select the pen tool, click on one of the points and drag it to the necessary area. I can see that we have some extra points and don't be afraid to remove them. You will see a dialog box. Don't mind it. Remove the points if they interfere with your work, such as this one. Delete it. Great. At this point, I will explain what we're going to do. We have created 2 frames. Firstly, I want to move the points in a way that they look like a 3D rotation. So in this situation, we won't waste much time on creating a complex rig. We won't convert the layers to 3D. Like real artists, we manually set the points so that it seems that our object is rotated by several degrees. And I think that here we should set approximately 60 degrees for the x-axis, like this. Align points. If you have any issues with paths, use the Alt key. So click the point keeping Alt pressed, and you will see tangents, which you can move, and your curves will be more flexible. So make sure that the first and last frames are fine. Always replay animation, because removing the points can sometimes result in problems. And I see that everything's fine. Now I can proceed with the back side. With the front side, everything's okay. Double-click on the point to select the whole path so that you can move it in the way you need. So I hide the front part for my convenience. Click on the point and move it. Move the tangents in the way you need. Now straighten our back part. Sometimes it may take a little bit more time than you would want it to, but in this case we spend less time than if we would spend on creating a complex rig. Especially if in the future we need to export it as an SVG animation or JSON. A good rule is to use exactly this method. Meanwhile, I'm almost done and we can look at the result. Watch the animation. It looks pretty good. Let's unhide the front part, and I see that there are tiny deformations that should be fixed. Switch to the first frame and in the first key touch up the animation to ensure that it looks nice and there are no sharp corners. Great, we have corrected the top part. Now introduce some tiny improvements to the bottom part. Great. And I see that there's a tiny unevenness on the left. Correct it as well. Great. We have created an excellent 3D imitation. We made it manually using 2 keys. Now we can attach it to the slider. But before doing that, let's find the center and use the auxiliary rulers and guides. Switch to the last frame and set the guide in the center to ensure that it is centered in the first frame. Because our object will rotate relative to the center, thus we don't want it to shift to the left or right. Our animation will stay centered all the time. Select the frames, go to the Rigs tab and click Slider Rig. In that case, we have created a separate layer, and as you can see, now there's a slider that plays the animation. But I like to do it without any separate controllers. And for this reason, let's press Ctrl plus Z or Command Z, and keeping Alt pressed, click on the slider rig. In this way, the slider is created on the necessary layer, not on a separate layer. Okay, let's do the same with the pyramid. I see that in the mockup it's slightly inclined, so select the point. Press the V key to select all the frames. Command T or Control T on a keyboard to apply transform, and we can easily rotate all the paths. That's exactly what we need. Select the Extra tab and click Path Keys. In that way, the keys will be added to the paths on all layers. Let's set the keys at the end, but it would be better to remove them and manipulate only the necessary objects. In that case, the keys will be set automatically. So I want to rotate the pyramid, and to do this I need only 3 layers. This is the first one. And now I need to adjust the spots of light. I will do it manually as well. Check animation. Everything's fine. Select 2 points and drag them upwards. Here we need to adjust this side and move the spot of light to the left. Adjust the tangents too. Excellent. So in fact, the rotation is ready and we don't need to do anything else with it. We will animate specific objects using position and layer groups. Now we can remove the unnecessary frames and attach it all to Slider Rig. Select the frames and click Slider Rig. Be careful, and do it keeping Alt pressed to ensure that Slider Controller is created exactly on Pyramid and not on a separate layer, so that you don't create too many layer duplicates and to ensure that you can easily navigate in the project. Excellent, the pyramid is ready. Now we can proceed with the wheels. There are many ways to create the rotation of wheels. For example, back in 2015, I created an automatic rig for rotation. But in this case, we don't need it. And I always promote the approaches that will save your time. That's why I select the group with our layer, double-click on Path, and rotate it keeping Shift pressed. In this way, the rectangle will rotate exactly like we need it. And set the anchor point within the shape. Let's do the rotation. I see that I have set the anchor point on the wrong layer. Be attentive. Set it exactly on the corner and set it to 90. So we moved one edge, and now we need to adjust it back to match the position. I use guides to do that. Set them on the edge, select position, and in the last frame, adjust it to match the guides. Let's remove the thousandth values, we don't need them. So we have created the animation of the rectangle's rotation, and that's it. This is all that we should have done. We don't need any custom tailored solutions here. If you are interested, you can look at the rig, which I created using expressions. I attached it to the project. Since in the illustration the rectangle has thickness, and this blue fill, duplicate the group, set the same color, and move it using the arrows on the keyboard. Go to Transform Group. Pay attention to position. Now, with an average value, it seems that the thickness disappears and we don't need that. Let's prolong the frames to 1 second to find the exact center. Set it to 15 frames and adjust the position. Great. We need to do the same with the last frame. Let's find the right value. Use guides. I see that we need to move it slightly to the left. Awesome. The animation of rotation is ready. And now we duplicate the rectangle, which is actually a wheel in our animation. Duplicate the wheel 1, move it downwards and slightly to the right. Center it relative to wheel 2. Now let's correct the fill to match the reference. Great. Now we can delete the old layer and rename this one to wheel 2. We are done with the animation of wheel rotation. We don't need the reflection yet. Let's proceed with the stroke. To work with the stroke, we will use a rather fascinating method. Let's draw a path. For example, select the red color so that it is convenient for us to set the same thickness. Go into the shape layer, go to stroke and select round cap. In this way, we round the edges. Further, we need to switch to taper and set the value 100 everywhere. Start length, and end width. Adjust it to match the reference. Great. Now all we need to do is to duplicate the shape to make a small head on the stroke. Select shape 1, and add trim paths to it. Set 1% on the end and change the color in the stroke. Set to 1 and reset the settings of the taper. We don't need it here. Click Reset on Taper, and it's exactly what we need. Now we attach this path to the main path shape 1. Keeping Alt pressed, click on Path, and now when you move shape 1, the head will move too. Now let's change the colors to match the ones in the reference. And done. Now let's watch our animation. Yes, as you can see, we have ensured the imitation of 3D rotation. It will be quite useful in a future animation. So let's proceed with the very animation. We have the rotation of the rectangle, and I want it to look more fascinating. For this purpose, use F9 on the keyboard or function F9 if you use a MacBook. Apply speed graphs, and set the keys in the center. If you press F9 again, such parabolas will appear in the graph. If your graphics differ from mine, make sure that you really need a speed graph. So adjust speed graphs in this way. Pull it to the right. So now our rectangle stops at the highest point for a while. It's exactly what we need. But to ensure that it doesn't stop too rapidly, we should customize the velocity. Go to Keyframe Velocity, click on Continuous Lock, and move it upwards. Make sure that Continuous Lock is switched on. Alternatively, you can do all of that separately, but it's inconvenient. So you can move the sides, firstly the left sides, then the right one. But the best option is to use Continuous Lock. Good. When you move keyframe velocity upwards, the stopping at the top becomes less rapid, and the animation will look more natural. But now I see that position behaves very similarly to rotation. But there should be no speed graphs on position. That is why I want to reset position. The movement should be even, without any speed changes. It means that position should always be the same in each frame. Now it's way better. And it's exactly what we need. If you click on position with Shift-Alt pressed, this settings will be removed. We do this in the sake of our convenience, to ensure that it's easier to work with speed graphs. So I think that we can move keyframe velocity down a bit and we adjust our animation, so that it looks like this. I like the result. We can duplicate the animation, duplicate the wheel, and adjust the fill. We can delete the previous frame. Great. The animation is ready, and I think that we can use the loop. To do this, use D key tool and click with the middle mouse button. Let's speed the animation up. Select the frames keeping Alt pressed. Move the animation to the center. Now the animation has 15 frames. This speed is enough for me, and the only thing to do is to move the second wheel by 1 frame on the timeline to ensure that it looks more interesting. Great. Now let's proceed with the body to animate the slider. We already have a ready-to-use animation. Move it by 15 frames, and now it has values from 0 to 100. Apply a loop with Alt pressed. In this way, it will be replayed back and forth thanks to the ping pong expression, and I think that now it's too intense. Let's set the values from 50 to 100. Now it's way better. Switch to the pyramid and repeat the same thing. Move it to the 15th frame. Also, it would be a good rule to apply edit, purge, all memory and disk cache to speed up the performance. You can find these settings in Preferences, Media, and Disk Cache. Here, set the necessary maximum disk cache size. In this way, your animation will be cached, and this will speed up your work. Excellent. So we are done with the pyramid. Here we have animation from 0 to 100. Apply loop with Alt pressed. Let's move the anchor point downwards and repeat the same thing with the ball. Move it to the center. Make sure that the anchor points are in the right places. Excellent. The animation is almost ready. And the only thing we need to do is to improve the rotation and create the imitation of balance. But before that, let's deal with the attachments. Attach the face to the body, the pyramid to the face. We won't attach the ball to anything. And now let's proceed with the animation of rotation. I think the range from -10 to 10 will be enough for us. Press F9. And keeping Alt pressed, click on the loop. Now we can copy this animation to face. Click R on the keyboard and press Command V or Control V. We already have a quite interesting animation. All we need to do is to move the animation on the timeline. Also, I see that I have created 13 frames, but it should be 15. So correct it. Be attentive. Click on the rotation and move it to the right. Let's move it to the left. Look at the result. I like this option better. We'll keep it. Now move the face approximately by 5 frames. Let's look at the result. It's pretty good. And also move the pyramid to the 5th frame and the face to the 10th. Excellent. I like the result. Now we can move on to the next animation. But before that, let's move the face to the 12th frame, and I think that in this way it's even better. So you should spend some time to find the necessary balance that you would like. Further, we proceed with the animation of the body. Since the wheels are rotating, the body should move up and down simultaneously with them. Click Position. We will use animation of the wheel as a starting point. So let's open the keys on wheel 1. Press U on the keyboard to see all frames, all keys. To ensure that we can easily navigate in the reference, let's elongate our keys. Since we compressed the length of the keys, there's no center and the middle keys on wheel 1 aren't situated in the center. That's why I select all keys, move them with Alt pressed, and now we have ensured an accurate center for the keys. I set the position down on the first key, and on the second key, I set it upwards. I copy the first key and insert it in the last one. Now we need to apply ease, and we repeat the same steps as for wheel 1. So move the first tangent to the left, the second to the left too, and the last one to the right. And let's also move keyframe velocity upwards. So now we can shorten the animation as it was before. Keeping Alt pressed, set it to the 15th frame. Awesome. It is ready. Now I see that the animation is slightly jumpy. Thus, let's get back to the speed graph again, and I adjust the last tangents to ensure that they are slightly smoother. It's better now. Let's move on. Now we need to animate the stroke, and we'll do it manually. Since we already have a ready rig, we can animate the path. Please note that we need to animate the path of shape 1 because shape 2, that is the head, is attached to the first one. So let's center the points relative to the center of the wheels, because in the illustration the wheel seems to be transparent and we can see stroke through them. And the stroke connects the wheels. After every 5 frames, I adjust the points according to the wheel's centers. So 15 frames. I copy the first frame and insert it in the last one. It will be the loop. Click on loop without keeping Alt pressed because we already have a cycle. Great. It's a very fast way, but I also want to show you the automated way, where you can do different manipulations with the wheels. For example, using crazy shapes, select the path and click on this point to create 2 null objects. Move them towards the center, but not right to the center, and attach null to the wheel. Attach, and now you can see that the path behaves similarly to the wheels. So now you move it on the timeline and animation will change. You can use this method too. Great. Now we need to work on reflection. We will do it in an interesting way. We'll use the effect compound arithmetic. Apply it to the layer wheel 1 and select wheel 2 in source. Then we select ARGB to display the second wheel. Now in Effects, select Fill and color it in the same color as it is in the reference. Great. Now we need to apply Set Matte. Let's do this. With Set Matte, the second wheel will be displayed clearly on the mask of the outline of the first wheel. And the only thing we need to do is to apply the effect CC Composite. To ensure that the reflection is visible, remove a tick from RGB only and set behind. In this way, we displayed the reflection over the layer. Great. It's exactly what we need. The reflection is ready. But I want to make the refraction of light, so that the reflection isn't strictly on the outside of the second wheel. For that purpose, I will use the transform effect, drag and drop it above fill, and using this point, move it to place you need. You can use any place you like. I think that this place is perfect for us. So in that way, without a huge amount of separate layers, we have made this animation using only the effects. And this is a really good rule. I like avoiding duplicating layers, and I like that everything stays in the right places. Next, we move on to the animation of the ball. So set the positions in a way that it would seem as if it jumps away from the walls of our body. I will make an imitation as if it jumps away to the right and to the left, up and down. You can do it in the way you want. But again, don't forget about physics and how it should look in real life. So if the ball flies from the left to the right, it must jump away in the right direction. From the top to the bottom, now it jumps away here and to the right again. And again, since we are the animators, we can break the rules, but not too much. Select the pen tool, and with the key selected, click on the point to remove the curves. Click F9, and in speed graphs, move everything to the right, and we get such an animation. Great. Now we can use the effect called Crazy Shapes. Let's click on Ball 3, and apply Reset Shape to ensure that Path Stretch is applied. After that, we can see how the ball loses its shape. Now it's too deformed. That's why I will change Stretch Cut to 50. Let's increase it even more to 61. Great, we have created a really good animation. Let's watch and make sure that everything is good. I remove elastic, we don't need it here. Let's increase it even to 65. Great. Now place the shadow where the ball touches the wall of the body. We will make the shadow visible. Let's go into the layer and animate the path. So here, the shadow is maximally visible. Right when the ball jumps away, click Command T or Control T on the keyboard and transform the path. Make it a little bit smaller. Since the ball is not near the wall, we can just move it outside the screen area and wait for the moment when it touches the back wall again. Set the key somewhere here, and at this moment our shadow will become visible. Let's click Command T or Control T again and drag the shadow to the correct place. Awesome. The ball approached, so that's why we increased the shadow. Now I see that the stretch on the ball is too intense and I want to remove it. We can do this by changing the speed graph. As you can see, here it is too high. Let's decrease it. Great. Further, I speed up the video of this process. You should manually add the shadow where the ball falls down. so place it in the necessary places. Great. And move it outside the screen area. Make sure that the last frame is similar to the first one. So copy the first frame and insert it in the last one. Because in the future, we will do the same movement on the timeline so that our balls don't move synchronously. So the animation is ready. Repeat the same procedure with the rest of the balls. I sped up this process in the video too. Place the shadows and use Crazy Shapes path stretch as well. As soon as you set all frames, make sure that the first one coincides with the last one on the shadow's position. And now you can apply loop. Apply loop everywhere, because in the future, we'll move the frames on the timeline. Apply it on position, but don't keep Alt pressed in this case, because the animation is ready and it is in the cycle, and we don't need it to ping pong. As you can see, everything in the scene is happening simultaneously. That's why let's move the frames on the timeline. I see that the loop doesn't play back everywhere. We forgot to add it on this position and on ball 1. Great. Now move the frames on the timeline like this. Great. Also, you may face some problems where the balls can displace and you may need to correct it manually. So look at it attentively and correct it. Now we need to hide the balls behind the front wall. For this purpose, duplicate the body, go to Content and remove the back wall. Great. Let's keep just the front wall. We will use this layer as a mask for the balls. Select ball 2, go to Effects and Presets and apply Set Matte. Now select body 2 and click Invert Matte. In this way, the ball is hidden behind the front wall. Great. Now we can copy Set Matte to other balls. The animation is almost ready. Only a few steps more. Now we need to proceed with the pyramid and animate the objects inside the pyramid. Open the pyramid. I see the first group, and here we have an element which can be removed. So the wall is reflected, but in this case is enough to use application method inside shape layer. Click on group 2, hard light or soft light. I'm satisfied with the result, and now we need to manually animate each ball. We can do this using position. Set 2 keys, to the left, to the right. Now select all keys, F9, and click Loop with Alt pressed to apply ping pong loop. Repeat the same with other balls. Group 2. Position. I think here move to the left and to the right. Apply with Alt pressed. Repeat the same with the black ball. Set the keys. Here I animated the path. You can do it the way you like. Use path or position, rotation, scale, and so on. I even made a loop for asynchronous movement of the balls. Great. It looks great, and all we have to do is to make the jumping ball at the top. As you remember, in each animation, I always strive to add something interesting. I mean that if I made just a balancing ball, it wouldn't look that good. For this reason, I decided that it will be funnier if that ball will jump away from the pyramid. In this case, it seems that our character is heading the ball using its head like a football player would do. So using position, I make such bends. Make sure that the upper points are centered. So find the accurate center between the first and last point. Set the keys. Make sure that you have 5 frames. Copy the last key and insert it in the last one. Great. Adjust the keys and also adjust the centers, as well as tangents. Select all keys. Click F9, and now we need to use the graphs. Now I want to adjust the bends. Select the pen tool, and with position selected, click on any of the points. Now, keeping Alt pressed, I click on the upper points and make the curve I need. If you press V, you will be able to easily drag the points. If you do it with Alt pressed, you will drag the tangents. So I'm satisfied with these bends now. Now I can move to easing. Select position, and I make such speed graphs. So in the topmost point, the ball will stop. Let's watch it. Yes, now it looks pretty good. Now select an interesting effect in crazy shapes like path delay, but don't forget to apply reset shape to ensure that it works correctly. With ball selected, click path delay to create an interesting effect as if the ball is elastic and it will jump away interestingly. Great. Now I want to adjust positions. It jumps away pretty high. Let's move the upper points downwards. Now it's way better. And also adjust velocity to ensure that it doesn't freeze in the topmost point for too long. Let's move them higher. Keyframe velocity, continuous lock, and move upwards. Now the animation looks very natural. Working with this animation, I combined two methods. We animated the first balls using stretch, and the other one was animated using path delay. Thanks to that combination, we could use different properties of objects. The first one's elongated, while the other one seemed to be made of rubber. That's how we can combine different physical properties of objects. And all we need to do is to animate the face. It's pretty easy. We select the necessary group and animate position downwards and upwards. Use easing and loop with Alt pressed. Congratulations, dear friends. The animation is finished, and my recommendation to you is not to be afraid of experimenting. Look for different solutions. And don't forget about the amplitude moving on the timeline. See you in the next lesson.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the second lesson homework review. And before we start, I want to quickly describe you the roadmap. So right now we just practicing, so watch the lessons and replicate the result. Hard skills can be achieved only by practicing. So MB2 course is 90% practice and 10% theory. So right now, while doing homeworks, you grow in your skills and learn new techniques. Okay? After that, you get personal feedback and apply it. So right now you're making mistakes, and it's the key to progress. So my personal feedback group sessions will indicate your weak areas. And the process is very clear. So watch lessons, replicate the result, send to Discord, and get feedback and apply it and grow. So once you will complete 10 homeworks, you will be able to start test, and this is assignments where you can earn emotions, and it will be another roadmap for you. But let's quickly jump to the emotion token itself that you will be earning. The idea is that creatives get paid with emotion tokens for the impressive results and achievements they are getting in the educational process. Emotion token brings incomes and gamification into the educational process. So once you finish 10 lessons, you will be able to generate unique character, and I can show you how it's working directly in After Effects. So create composition and click generate character. So once your character generated, you should animate it according to the guidelines and specifications. As you can see, you have your character code. For example, if you lost your unique randomly generated character, you can always put this number and it will be generated. To upload your assignment, you need to spend 1 energy, and by default you get 1 energy per day. But you can upload unlimited submissions if you have enough energy, and you can achieve more energy by reviewing other assignments. So how it's working? As you can see, in your personal account you have energy indicator, and you have ability to submit your assignment. Once your assignment is reviewed, you can earn emotions and level score. As you can see, 1 star is 100 emotions and 1 level score, and so on. You need 5 reviews to get your work accepted. So if you will get 1 star, it means that your work is accepted, but if you want to pass the test for 3 stars, you can do it. So regarding the reviews, as I told previously, you can review other assignments and get additional energy. So 1 reviewed assignment equals to 1 energy. By default you get 1 energy per day, Energy allows you to upload assignments and earn emotions. To upload assignment, you need to spend 1 energy. That means you can upload 1 assignment per day. But if you want to upload more assignments, you can review other works and get energy as a reward. You can review unlimited amount of assignments. Another part of learning process is learn by reviewing other works. So when you see somebody uploaded the assignment, you can check if the task is correct. Maybe it has different style and completely different from the original, so at the beginning you can click approve or reject, and that's all. But if you clicked approve, you will jump to the next part, and here you will choose qualities that are well executed. So it's guideline, appeal, and creativity. What is guideline, appeal, and creativity? I will explain in the next slides. The next one is you will rate the work from 1 to 3 stars, and be honest with your rating because you may be banned if it's fake. The same with the comment, so you will leave the comments that is at least 1 characters, and you will describe in detail what you think of this work and suggest improvements. So in that case, by reviewing other works, you will be learning as well. So qualities manual, learn how to review. So guidelines is upload GIF according to specifications. Damaged GIFs will affect on your rating. So it means double check when you convert your animation to GIF or you not met the specifications, for example resolution and so on, you may be banned. The next one, appeal. So please don't change the original design. Be careful when adding additional elements. So if you want to add additional elements and they are not in the style the designer illustrator already provided, your work may be reduced by rating, so or maybe you will not pass the assignment. So my suggestion, do not make additional elements. So if you see the characters, only animate the character. And we jump into the creativity, where I will explain that better to use your creativity in the animation, not in the design, because it's not design and illustration course, it's motion design and animation course. So your creativity should be expressed in animation. And of course, try to think outside the box and make original, unexpected results. Simply don't be boring. Here's the example of damaged GIFs. As you can see, we have some dots, and it may be also affect on your rating score. Even if your animation is beautiful, but you have this little damaged GIFs, your rating can be 1 star. Okay, so I think it's clear. The next one, appeal explanation. So appeal means that GIFs that don't have a correct loop, for example like this work. So the task is to make a loop animation of the character, but in this case author added a lot of additional elements and made like a storytelling where character starts from the left, then he ends to the right side, and it's great, it's expressing your creativity, but please follow the rules of creativity, and I will explain them again. So simply make the loop in the center. The next one, color dim should be the same as in design. So please, if you have original colors, don't change them I understand that you want to express your creativity again, you want to be unique, and that's great, but please be unique in animation and motion design. Because again, we in the motion design and animation course, not design and illustration. So the next one, additional BG elements that don't meet the design guidelines. Great, so it's similar to the first one, but in the first one it been like incorrect loop, but many homeworks that you send have some backgrounds. Please don't make them. Again, express your creativity in motion. And the last one is like custom elements that completely change the original design. And as you can see, author completely changed the elements, and that work automatically will be banned. And here is the creativity explanation. Creativity should be considered as a secondary action and staging, and it's according to 12 Disney principle. I will attach this presentation to the lesson, and all links are clickable, and you can check all videos. So in our case, since we talking about creativity, we can consider these two principles. So secondary action is additional action that supports the main act. A secondary action is an integral part of animation as it adds interest and realism to the scene. And very important one, principle staging. When you see the video with explanation, you will understand that staging includes almost all principles together, because grabbing viewer attention is very difficult, and when you made a lot of creativity in the principle 8, viewer should still see everything that you wanted to express in your animation. In many cases you wanted to show something, but viewer will not see it, so that's why you need to practice on the staging part, and that means that you need to practice on all principles together. And again, don't change the original design. It's motion design and animation course. So we jump into the motion alphabet, and again it's based on 12 animation principles, and this alphabet will help you to review other works because it has the most main aspects that will help you to review. So amplitude, I can explain you more amplitude, more attention to the object, and that's very easy one. So if you see some animation that some amplitude to the objects can be added, and it will improve animations, so you can tell it in the comments. The next one is balance, and it's how objects interact with environment and with each other. So that means if we will jump to some animation, here we can see a lot of objects, and if everything is not well balanced, for example something can fall, something not, and in this example we see the flip of the pin, and it's animated according to the law of the physics, and it's everything about balance. The next one is creativity. It's staging, storytelling, and secondary action. Yes, so for example, even if we take this animation, we can think what else can happen on the scene and how this part, for example, can be animated, what can happen inside. So there are hundreds of variation how you can make this animation, and there are hundreds of different setups. For example, it can be chill mood, it can be scary mood, it can be some action, and you need to think how creative you should be there. We will learn about this in the next lessons. But okay, so design. Everything meet the guidelines of design. So you should check if the author met the guidelines. So if you see that there are a lot of changes, for example like here, so you can decline this work. The next one is easing, and it's slow in and slow out. You can check. I've included the links to the principles, so you can click and understand the principle. The next one is frequency, and it's timing. So for example, if your animation too slow or too fast, so for example, let me see some work. So this one, it's very noticeable that it's a little bit fast, so it can be slowed down. And this principle is frequency. So when you see an animation, think about it. The next one is offset, and it means nothing moves at the same time, so it's principle number 5. And lazy one is very simple. Don't be lazy, fix every little detail before sending the result. So let's jump to some work and I will explain you how it works. So for example, this one. So what we see here, design, no, because author changed the original design. Author added a lot of background elements and so on. Amplitude. Amplitude is nice, so everything great. Balance also is well balanced, so I see that everything interact with each other well. Creativity also yes, because right now you just replicating the result from the lesson. The next one, easings. Easings also great. I can see that everything moves with the nice smooth motion, and here also. Offset. So in offset I see that it can be better because these balls, some of them moving at the same time, so that means you should work on the offset a little bit in the center area. And the lazy, my favorite one. So as you can see, this little bug appear on the scene and the author don't delete it. And also the platform overlapping the wheels, and it's also should be fixed. So it's a little things, but for some reason they are not removed. So that's how it's working. Great, please watch the rest of the presentation in the introduction lesson if you haven't seen it. But right now I want to jump to our works. I will be reviewing your homeworks according to the motion alphabet, and let's jump to the first one. As you can see, everything is great. So again, amplitude, everything is great. Balance, we have some issues in the top ball. I will explain which one later. Creativity, yes, because you replicated the lesson and you still not doing the assignments where you should express your creativity. Right now it's not necessary, you can just replicate the result. Design also yes. So easings, everything is great, easings really well. Frequency also, timings is great. And offset, I see that at some point yellow and white ball, they starting to move in at the same time, so you can fix this part. And lazy, also everything is great, every little detail is perfect. So regarding the top part, it's the balance. And what I mean by balance, let me show you. So once the ball touch this side, it will, let me show you. So it will automatically jump here. Let's see the next one. So the same will happen here. So please make it to the center. Or there are another case. So if your triangle moving like opposite sides, so for example ball is flying here and your triangle rotates in this side, and then ball can jump again to the top because you have the speed and some power that will not give him opportunity to jump to the side. So if it can happen only if your triangle is also moving with this kind of motion. In that case, your ball will be jumping straight back, okay, not like that. So keep that in mind, and let's jump to the next one. Okay, so this one is a great example of creativity and how everybody should make it. So as you can see, this author not changed any colors, he don't added any backgrounds, but he made a lot of creativity here, so motion and animation creativity. So I propose you to do the same, because our course is motion beast, right, not design beast. So here everything is well adjusted. Only the thing is that yellow ball, so at some point it flies to the top, and then you see this arc motion, and I can't understand why this ball starting to move like that. Some power starting to influence on it, and it should not happen. So this ball should just jump like straight to the bottom and then start this motion. Okay, so also I'm not sure about this trail. Maybe you can remove it, or you can add some other trail. This one is a little bit not into design, you know. Great, so let's jump to the next one. So this example, as you can see, it not meet the guidelines again. So in the future, when somebody will upload his assignment like that, it will be not approved because it has like 400 pixels, and in the lesson I said that it should be 1000, right? Also the background is changed, and because of that objects starting to disappear at some point, because everything is blue and background is blue. In the next homeworks, just use black background. Regarding creativity is also great. So this author made some interesting animation also, what I can see here. So we also have some damaged GIF, please fix it. And another thing, so in that case we have two types of motion. The first one, the triangle is not attached to the head, the second one is attached, so it's a little bit confusing for the user. So please choose only one. Like the both types of motion is great, but when you combine them it's a little bit confusing. Okay, so for example, if we jump to the next one, we have only one type of spin motion, and it's okay. So I'm not confused with this motion. So triangles somehow attached to the head, and I don't need explanation why, you know. Everything else is also great, but we have the same type of mistakes regarding the balance. So the ball will jump to the side once it's touched the sides of the triangle. Also great move with the balls in the centers. As you can see, some ball just flying from the center and starting to spin. Amazing. So this example, author completely changed the design and it will be not approved, but okay, it's great. I like the motion, but please don't make like that in the future. Please stay to the design. Everything else is perfect. I like the balance, I like the offsets. I see at some point the middle balls starting moving at the same time, so please fix it. In this example, author makes like a lot of environment and the loop. As you can see, we don't have a loop at all. So your object should be in the center. And also a lot of stylization, and I can't notice. So please stick to guidelines and make it in the center. In that case, I can see all type of mistakes that you have right now. It's a little bit hard, but as you can see, even here, your ball is completely attached to the triangle and it shouldn't be like that. So in real life, the ball should be animated by himself without any parent. You see? So it's like a strange movement. It seems like some invisible stroke is attached to the triangle, so it shouldn't be like that. Animate the ball separately. Just make the arcs and it will work. In this case also it not met the guidelines because the size is not right, it's not 1000. Also we see some floor, some background, so please don't do like that. Regarding the highlight on the triangle, as you can see, I can't understand why it's only on the one side. So once triangle is rotating, the highlight should be always in the one side, so it should disappear here and then appear in the center again, because it's highlight, you know. Another one, I like the motion in the center, very nice. I like the speed, the frequency is awesome, and the movement amazing. But these balls that's flying away, they a little bit distracting, and they should be closer to the object, because my eye starting to move away from the main object, and it's not necessary. It's like no reason to no reason to do it. So I want to see the main object, so please move them a little bit closer so it will be consistent. And another one is the wheels. Right now, please fix the easings and the speed of the wheels. They are a little bit slow right now, so it can be faster. And the same with the triangle. At some point I think the triangle can fall on the ground because you made a little bit like high position, so you see it's like a huge amplitude, so triangle will fall on the ground. The same when ball touch the sides, it can fall like to the left. But the motion of the ball is amazing, like the easing is very cool. So in this example, author decided to make it backwards, but it's a little bit distracting, so for the viewer eye it's like very necessary to understand what's happening. So in that case, I can't understand why it's moving backwards. So it will be more normal to play it like to the forward. And in that case, we will not have questions, you know. So I understand that you want to be creative, but just moving backwards, you can find some other great creative idea. Okay, so in this area I see that stretch is only on one ball. Another ball doesn't have stretch, so it's strange. Everything should be consistent, so add a stretch to every ball. In this part I see that you can work on the easings on the top ball. At some point I see that you should play with velocity, because at the top point it's stuck a little bit, so please fix it. And you can place all object a little bit to the bottom, because at some point your ball like cut by the like area, and as you can see you also have different dimensions. It's not 1000 on 1000, so please fix it. In that case you can see that background is changed. Okay, but everything else is perfect. I like it, so this result is amazing. So no changes, everything is perfect. I like it. Maybe like one little adjustment. Please think about the line. At some point you have like the angle to the left is great, but you should compensate it at some point. So because right now it's like 0 minus 15 always, but it should be minus 10 plus 10, so it will be well balanced. In that case we can see the background is changed, design is changed, but the motion is great. And here we can talk about the lazy little things. So I see that author haven't noticed that this platform is overlapping the wheel. It shouldn't be like that, and you can see this bug that happening 2 times actually, so you should fix it also. Everything else is perfect. Let's jump next. The same design is changed, you added some additional elements. What we have here, it's damaged. Please fix the damaged gift. I like the emotion on the head, very cool. I also smiled when I saw it. So in that case you made a good job on this little touch. Everything else is perfect also, but please be into design, original design. Everything else is perfect. So what we see here, also great result, but only one thing that you should change is offset on the middle balls. At some time they moving at the same time, so please fix it. The same with the top ball. You can see how it's stuck in the top part, because you need to change the velocity a little bit more. Also please take out this shadow, it's not necessary, it not meet the design guidelines. So what we see here, I think that you've made, it's not even motion blur, it's like some frame blending here, so please remove frame blending because it's like a little bit blurry because of it. Fix the offset on the balls, fix the top ball because you have problems with velocity, and I think you even your arc, like top part, it should be here the dot. Everything else is great. Okay, So here you can make more amplitude on the platform because you squeezed it a little bit. I mean, not squeezed, but you've made rotation too much right now, so we want to see the balls more, how they stretch, but right now they have not enough space. So please make rotation a little bit more so we can see how they like interact with the platform. What we see here, I like the movement of the ball, but it seems like I can notice the loop, you know, so it's always like that. So maybe the second bounce you can make it a little bit higher. So because right now it's like repeating and I'm noticing it's like very robotic move. Everything else is perfect. So here, as you can see, we have some problems with the easings or with the loop. So also I see some little details that should be fixed, some overlappings of the blue platform and the strokes of it. Fix the motion on the top. And why just only one ball? So it's called lazy little things. I see the stretch only here, but not in the other timing. So please add another balls and fix the top one. You have a lot of problems with easings here. So in this example, everything is great. I like the middle part. So in that case, great movement on triangle, and in that case it may work this bounce on the sides, but the movement should be, you need to offset it a little bit. So I've explained it in the beginning how it's working. Remove the shadow and you can increase the speed on the wheels or fix the easings. Can be more interesting. Right now it's a little bit boring. So in this case you've made like 2 frames offset on the wheels and it looks a little bit weird, so please make 1. Also I don't see the stretches on the balls, and you can make more amplitude on the triangle. Also you've made like a 2x frequency on the platform and it looks great, no problem, but the offset for the rotation, like Z rotation, you animate slider and just rotation, so please fix the offset too, because the rotation and slide happening at the same time right now. In that case we see that it's like a lot of frequency and it's a little bit fast, so everything is great, but please make a little bit slower. And also I see that the ball right now it's like parented to the triangle. It shouldn't be parented. Please untouch it and make it from scratch again. Also this move like 3D, or I don't know what is happening. These blue colors appear on the head and the same here, so I can't understand what is happening. Please remove it. The next one is great, but fix the platform. It's overlapping the wheels and it's called lazy things. Also I see only 2 balls. Include 1 more ball. Don't be lazy. In that case I like the offsets, like really great result. Maybe you can like not make a lot of rotations so the balls will be noticeable, but it's okay. I still like it very much, but the thing is that I don't like is the changing of the colors, and the design is changed, and in the original design the wheels, they've been much interesting than these wheels. So please move the colors back, and I like these touches with reflections, really cool. So the offsets is also amazing. So the only thing is design, so original colors, please. In that case, I like this highlight, looks amazing. The same here, but I see that you made the platform overlapping the wheels. Please fix it. And also the position movement, it's a little bit strange, so it seems like the triangle will fall very soon. So fix the position, it shouldn't be like that. Also, please fix the stretch on the ball. At some point you see only one frame of it, and maybe don't squeeze it too much like right now. Okay, in this example, please don't make the ball jump on the side. Let's make it always in the center, because it will bounce on the right. And maybe not too much easing. Oh, I see what's happening. So the offset of the platform, it should be changed, because it's happening at the same time right now. So the easing is great, and maybe the wheels, they too fast at some point, so please also fix it. So you should fix the easing on the wheels. This one is great. I like the result. Everything is almost perfect. I see that the ball at some point jumps on the side, but should be on the center. Please fix it. Everything else is amazing, but the damaged GIF, please fix it. As you can see, the animation is great, but the damaged background killed everything. As you can see, the offset in the center, at some point all balls starting to move in one by one, so fix it. Also the ball, top ball, is a little bit weird. You need to fix easings on it. The motion is great. The offset, as you can see, like interesting result. So I like it. Maybe fix the offset on the triangle, and everything else is great. So here, damaged GIF, I can't understand what is happening here. So this work is like the laziest, you know. So I don't know, I can't even give feedback, because there are a lot of damage here. So please make at least all objects, so animate all objects, so we will have consistent animation, then I can give the feedback on it. So here, overlapping platform, overlapping the wheels. Also fix the ball, it shouldn't be on the sides, only center, unless in other case it will fall. Also fix the, I think you should fix the easings, because at some point they move in and then they stop at some point. As you can see, even the hole become empty, like a lot of motion at the beginning, but then at the end they stuck in the left side. So it's always should be like a mess, a little chaos inside. No stop motion here. Okay, here easing, please fix them. It shouldn't be like that. So it just straight motion, linear motion. Everything else is great, just the middle part. So no easings at all, so just linear motion. Damaged GIF, as you can see, also fix the offset inside. Everything else is great, but maybe at this point you can fix the velocity of the ball. Amazing result, but The author makes some rolling inside the platform. It's great, but you need to fix the easings. They're a little bit strange right now, and I can't understand. So the middle little ball is stretching, this ball is not stretching, so be consistent in your design. Amazing result. I like it, but the GIF is damaged. Everything else is perfect. Congratulations. Please send GIFs because you see some problems. I need to hit play and I don't have a loop. But animation is great. I like it. Some little mess in the platform with the balls. It seems like you made it manually, not used the crazy shapes. So if you have some problems, please contact me. I will help you to fix crazy shapes. Amazing result. Perfect. Everything is perfect. I like it. So cool. The same here. Maybe you can fix the motion on the ball. It's like, seems like it's a little bit parented to the platform. Make it more like freestyle. And this one is even with sound design, and it looks great. I like it. Amazing. I like the result. But please make a GIF. I know that you can't include sound design to the GIF, but again, it's a motion design course. And also background, it should be black, but everything else is amazing. I like it. Fix the ball little bits. I see some strange movements at some point. Also, the balls jumping at the same time, so fix the offset. Everything is perfect. Everything else is great. Here at some point ball jump on the side, so fix it. In this example we have issues with frame rate and also with dimension. It should be 1000 on 1000. Everything else is great. Some issue with the loop. At some point I see that we have loop issues, so fix the loop. The same here. Dimensions, changes to the design, but everything else is great. Expect the ball, you can make it better. So thank you guys, that's all for today, and please send me upgraded fixed versions of your animations, and see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.